Hi, and welcome to Week 8 of the I Formation. I'm Jeff Gibbons.
And I'm John Moist.
And boy, oh boy, just got to have a word with all of those NFL prognosticators that are out there that are picking picks for a living. Just wanted to let you in on a little secret. Last week, nobody caught us. We differed on one pick last week, and we ended up with a combined total of 25-1.
Jeff was perfect last week,
We
13-0.
And 12-1. Awesome set of statistics. We told you we're going to move up that list, and that's the kind of week that's going to do it for us. This week we got a few challenges on our hands. We're going to vary, I think, on a couple of these picks. We're even flip-flopping as we're filming here now. So we're looking now at about halfway through the NFL season. We're starting to see some things shaping up. We're actually seeing some of those articles out there on some of the sites, projected playoff spots. Nothing to even think about right now. There's a lot of good races out there, but I'm certainly looking at one in particular now, and that's the AFC East, and I think that that's going to be a race right down to the finish. Not necessarily that we're going to send a great contender to the bowl or towards the bowl, but going to be an interesting race nonetheless. And there are a few more out there, but stick around. We're going to give you our picks from next week. No need to repeat what we talked about last week. We were nearly perfect. So we will say that one thing that did impress me. I looked at the film again just before we shot tonight, and even the commentary we identified Chris Johnson having a really big game against Buffalo on the ground. You talked about the dogfight that was the Monday Night Football game. 59.5 minutes, the Bears held them off the score sheet, and they just shut down Calvin Johnson, like you said.
Low-scoring game, as we called it.
We both like the under, So we were a little bit off the mark on the Patriots. We did pick it right, but that game was a lot closer. And just reading an article this week about the Patriots and how they are not the contenders that we think they are. And I mentioned last week about them, not being that strong juggernaut team that they were. But I'm sure I'll say lots more about that before the season's over. But
they've got a weakness in the secondary.
Yeah, they've got a weakness in a couple of places, and certainly, we talked about that last week too. But one of them came from a bat with a nail in it. I remember my dad always used to say, "Stick around, folks. We're going to give you our picks for this week, and like I said, we're going to try to be as bang on as we were last week. So stay tuned."
Hey, welcome back to the I Formation. We're going to jump right in now with our picks for Week 8, starting with the Thursday nighter between Tampa Bay and Minnesota.
I'm liking Minnesota all the way. I think Tampa Bay on the road, Adrian Peterson, is Adrian Peterson. I think Ponder shakes off the dust, and they put a good game together. Maybe to look to Percy Harvin to have a good game against that Tampa Bay defense at home.
Tampa Bay looked good on offense last week, but that was the Saints defense. It's not the Saints defense this week. It's the Minnesota Vikings defense, and they have a much better pass rush. And I think that I believe the Vikings are unbeaten at home so far this year, and they're going to stay that way. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. What do you think, 6 or 7 points?
Yeah, it'll be close.
Around there.
Two very capable teams there that can put up a game on any given Sunday, but I think that Minnesota, with the way they're playing now, I think they win out.
Yes.
Okay, next game. San Diego goes into Cleveland to the dog pound, John.
The Cleveland Browns at home to the Chargers. Let me just talk about Cleveland here for a second, because last week they played, and they were up against the Colts, were they? And I believe with 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, there was a 4th down in Indy territory. And Pat Shurmur, or Shoremore, whatever the hell his name is, he decides that he's going to punt. I have no idea. I understand if he was at his own 20, if he was going to punt in this situation, but he was in the other team's territory, a few minutes left, down by 4, and you punt? I don't understand this call at all. Then throughout the game, they had 17 run plays and 41 pass plays. This is a team that has Richardson and Hardesty. Yeah, Richardson went down in the first half, and that's fine. But Hardesty can still get the job done. It's football 101. You have to balance your offense. Shurmur and Childress. We got Brad Childress as the offensive coordinator and Pat Shurmur as the coach. You can both come to my kid's birthday party now, but I don't want you setting the tables or nothing. I don't want you setting anything. I don't want you on balloon animals, because that's a little bit too complicated. But I'm going to give you guys jobs, because you're going to be looking for them soon. And a role that you're used to every Sunday. The party will be on a Sunday, so you'll be used to it. You're going to be the clowns. So for your efforts as being the clowns at my kid's birthday party, I'm going to make sure, Pat, that you get the lucky cup, and Brad, you're going to get the lucky plate. Prizes are picked out. I had a couple of lovely new purses for each of you. There you go. Anyway, obviously I'm going with San Diego on this one.
Yeah, I was kind of on the fence. I wasn't sure which way you were going there. And just, Brad, don't let the little kids talk back to you. Yeah, I agree. San Diego in a blowout. Seattle is in Detroit this week, and I think we're going to agree or disagree on this one. I like the Seahawks. I like what they're doing. I like the defense. I see a struggling Detroit team, albeit they were beaten by the Bears, who forced 3 turnovers in the red zone this week. But I still think Seattle can put up a good defensive matchup against this Detroit team that's down, and I think that they can go in there and win a squeaker, Detroit.
I think Seattle has a better defense than Detroit, but Detroit's defense did show up against Chicago as well. It was a very close game, and I think Detroit has more weapons on offense. And although I think Seattle will probably keep this game somewhat close, Detroit needs this game too much. If they lose this one, they're finished. And I think I'm going to pick the Lions. I'm going to disagree with Jeff on this one and pick the Lions in a close one.
Yeah. What's this whole thing about Detroit needing this game? Mooch last week tweeted that out, and I couldn't help but answer him. He said, "Detroit needs this game tonight against the Bears," and I said, "Yes, but they won't win it." I said 10 points for the Bears, but anyway, it worked out. Sorry about that, Steve. Next, we got Jacksonville in Green Bay.
Well, Jacksonville Jaguars are going to start Matt Moore this week, I believe. I believe Blaine Gabbert was hurt, or he's benched or something. Anyway, Jacksonville and Green Bay. I can't keep a straight face. Anyway, next.
You followed that closer than the soap operas. All right, man. Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah. Green Bay in a really close 30-pointer. Miami visits the Jets for the second half of the season matchup. Now, I know you're on the fence on this one. I have not strayed on my pick all week. I have decided right out of the gate I see the Miami Dolphins evening this up, and there's a few things on my plate about this. I thought long and hard, did the research. You know, in the Rex Ryan era, they have never swept the Dolphins in a season series. As a matter of fact, they're 1-2 against the Dolphins at home since 2009. I also know the last game, 23-20 Jets. It was a series of errors that cost the Miami Dolphins the game. I think they outplayed the Jets. I think they had a really good chance to win. You had the missed field goals by Carpenter, actually plural, right? And you had the poorly timed timeout that figured in that at the end. Just another thing, though. They're playing in the Meadowlands this week. Carpenter is 6 for 6 historically in the Meadowlands, with as long as being a 48-yarder. So he's perfect there. A couple of interesting stats, too, that people may or may not know. Since week 4, Ryan Tannehill, this ever-growing dynamo of a quarterback in Miami, has not turned the ball over. So that's since week 4. And in that time, he's completed 69% of his passes for 408 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And an even more interesting stat, which I thought was a real character build for Ryan Tannehill this early in his career, according to Stats Inc., in week 6, he was 11 of 13, 2 touchdowns, 108 yards against the blitz. And that is an incredible achievement for a rookie quarterback. I think about Brady being good in blitz packages, being able to read those kinds of things and get the ball to your receivers. That is a huge thing. I know that Jeff Fisher was talking about Tannehill this week, saying that this guy is full of poise for a rookie. Made some really, really nice comments, complimentary comments about Tannehill. This is something that Mark Sanchez in year 4 of his career has never gotten from a coach like that. And I just think there's better and better things coming. And the last but not least, and I know I'm going on about this, but there was a lot in this decision, the injuries. That close game against the Jets early in the season that could have went either way. They also at that time had Darrelle Revis out in the corner, and they had Santonio Holmes. That lengthened the field for Sanchez. Both of them are gone, and now with Miami coming out of the bye, Reggie Bush, who went down in that Jets game in the second quarter and already had 61 yards on the ground against that rush defense, is now nearly 100% and will be back to run against them. One independent variable that comes into play for the Jets is Dustin Keller's return, and I think as a tight end, those one of Sanchez's favorite targets. I think the field is shorter now with Santonio Holmes out of the picture. They're going to have to get the ball to Keller, or Sanchez will have to get the ball to Keller. Miami's going to have to find a way to stop that. But also, Miami has lengthened their field because I know with all the pressure on Brian Hartline after those good weeks, you've got Hartline and Best getting those coverages issues. Now, Jabbar Gaffney looks like he's going to be activated for Sunday, which is another viable option out long. And I think all of these things factored in together, Miami on a 2-game win streak, the Jets faltering a little bit, albeit they played a great game against the New England Patriots. I just see them going in there and beating the Jets. And I think it's an even-up game. It's a grudge match. I think they need this game. And it's a huge impact on the AFC East because that's going to put the Jets 2 games back and possibly put Miami up close to to winning or being in the lead of that division. Sorry if I'm not selling you on this, but that's where I am, Miami.
I'm not sold, although I think either team can win this game. As a matter of fact, I could give you reasons why Miami's going to win this game. I could give you reasons why the Jets are going to win this game. So let's just flip a coin, and I'll go with the Jets. Okay, the Jets in their last 2 games.
It's shit like that made us 25-1.
The Jets played a very close game against the New England Patriots last week. It could have went either way. They have Santonio Holmes is gone, yes, but they found a man in this guy Curley, who is a big play receiver, and they've also the emergence of Sean Green on the ground with Powell as well backing them up. The Jets' running game is coming along. Like I said, it could go either way, but I think the Jets at home win this one by a field goal.
Okay. I'll be watching that one with bated breath on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Next on the list, Chicago at home to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I don't even see this one being close either. Carolina, Cam Newton, he'll be doing a lot of crying after this one. The Bears are just a much better football team. They're better defensively. They're even better offensively. Newton is a quarterback that can certainly run the ball, but when you got Ehrlicher and you got Briggs and you got
going to run against that defensive line.
I just don't think that Carolina has enough of a team to beat the Chicago Bears, especially in Chicago. And I think the Bears are going to win this one handily. I don't think Carolina gets a lot of points in this game.
Chicago doesn't allow broken plays. There's none of this Michael Vick jump out of the pocket, capitalize against that Chicago defense. They're going to penetrate. They're going to hurt that quarterback. They're going to bury that quarterback. They're going to sack that quarterback. This week, past against Detroit, they forced Detroit to turn the ball over 3 times in the red zone.
As a matter of fact, it was 3 times in the red zone, was it? Mm-hmm. Well, they actually forced 6 fumbles. They picked up 3 of them. They forced 6. So, I mean, they're ball hawks.
Yeah, and they've been incredible to watch as a defensive team and on the rise and just getting better and better each week. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to them staying in the leading that division. Atlanta is in Philadelphia.
Falcons 6-0, undefeated going in, and at 6-0, I'm going to make a statement here now. At 6-0, they are not as good a team as the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are a better all-around football team than the Falcons. Michael Vick has had some trouble. He's fumbling the ball. He's throwing interceptions. I think he's going to put it all together this week if the Eagles play like they're capable of playing. Now, Atlanta might be 6-0, but they have the 27th ranked run defense. They're up against LaShawn McCoy. McCoy's going to run all over them. Philadelphia is going to win this one by 2 touchdowns. How's that?
That's a great call. I think, Michael Vick, I've been following you on Twitter, and I see, you really want to make a difference, and I know you got the heart of a champion. I think you prove it this week when you unseat that number 1 team in the NFL by record only. I think Matt Ryan looked really beatable at home, and we all know about Matt Ryan's record, in the Dome. And he threw 3 picks in the first half, I think it was last week.
It's not in the Dome now.
Oakland almost upset them. I think that he's going to find it really tough in Philadelphia, that cold outdoor stadium, and I think they're going to be humble. You're right. I think 2 touchdowns, that's a great call. We have Indianapolis traveling to Tennessee this week.
Well, I went back and forth on this one too, but I'm going to say that I'm going to pick Tennessee. And the main reason is because Indianapolis has managed 1 sack and 0 turnovers in their last 2 games. If you cannot create turnovers, you're not going to win the ball game. For that big reason, because Indy's having trouble creating turnovers, and Tennessee being at home with Matt Hasselbeck, a veteran quarterback, in there, and the emergence of Chris Johnson, who is running all over the place now. I think Tennessee. I don't think there's going to be a blowout because it is a divisional rivalry, and I think it's going to be Tennessee by about 6.
And I think you're right. The run's a huge part of this, but I think Matt Hasselbeck is helping to orchestrate that. And I think he's bringing the best out in Johnson. I think having him there over Jake Locker has made a huge impact to that team. And they're scurrying. They're fighting for the playoff lives now. They have to put this whole thing together.
But their defense has to improve.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, no big secret that it didn't have a big part of what we saw last week in their win. I mean, it was a 35-34 game.
Yeah, really.
Lots of points. Blew that one on the over. But, yes, I think they have the tools to hang on and beat Indianapolis.
Yeah. Close one.
Absolutely. New England is now, I want to say New England at St. Louis. And when I first heard that my opinion of that was after watching that beleaguered New England team last week against the Jets, if they're in St. Louis, I'm calling St. Louis all the way. But as you mentioned this morning, that is actually being done overseas in Wembley Stadium. So that's changed my opinion of what I want to take here. I'm thinking that New England beats St. Louis in Wembley Stadium, and I think we agree on that.
I think New England is going to pound them. And we said New England was going to pound the Jets last week, and it ended up being a 3-point game. But I just think that New England's a better team than St. Louis. St. Louis is away. They're a great team when they're playing at home at their own stadium, but when they're away, they're different. And I think Brady and Welker, and you got Ridley on the ground, and of course the 2 tight ends, Gronkowski, Hernandez. A lot of weapons there for New England. St. Louis can't measure up for weapons, and I think that Brady's going to air it out in this game, and I think he throws for about 350 yards.
This is going to be like the Gladiators as opposed to a football team. They're going to be over there. They'd be better off to playing Peter Griffin and the Silly Nannies. I think that would be a closer game, but you're right. I think New England lights them up. Washington is in Pittsburgh this week. Another pick that we struggle with.
Yes. The Steelers don't lose too many home games.
No.
Washington has RG3, who actually RG3 last week when they played the Giants, and that game could have went either way too. And after the game, the Giants defense came out and said that RG3 was the best quarterback that they have faced this year. Big statement there. That being said, I don't see Washington going in and beating Pittsburgh in their home field because Washington's pass defense is very bad. They've got a good run defense. Their pass defense is I'm not sure what the ranking is there, maybe 30th around there. And Pittsburgh has the 7th ranked pass offense, so they like to throw the ball a lot. And I think for that reason, I think Pittsburgh wins this one by a touchdown.
The Pittsburgh Steelers right now are like sharks around a bucket of chum in the middle of the ocean. They smell. I said the wounded gazelle that is the last week, talking with the Baltimore Ravens.
Sharks now.
I'm going to tell you, they smell a chance to move up in this division. They are playing as a cohesive unit. Heath Miller is a machine.
He is.
He is a machine. Roethlisberger's getting the ball to him all day long. And I think that they are going to beat Washington based on that. I mean, the decimation of their defense. Still got London Fletcher out there. But you know what? That team as a whole is RG3. He's not responsible for all these losses. It's 4, like 3 and 4 point losses, and he's doing the job. So the levee will break, but it's not going to break at Pittsburgh.
One other thing, though, I'm glad you mentioned Heath Miller there because tight ends have to block. It's one of the main duties of a tight end to open up that running game and block those defensive players. Heath Miller is the best blocking tight end in the game, and I think pound for pound, the best tight end in football. It's not all about receptions.
No, but he certainly showed he could do that too.
Definitely.
Okay, so Pittsburgh to beat Washington. We disagree on the next one too. Oakland is in Kansas City. Now, I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to come up with a game here. Brady Quinn is going to be throwing the ball this week. That's been decided over Castle, and I think that Jamal Charles and the running game. I just see him getting the job done. They're in Arrowhead, which always makes it difficult. Oakland can come and go, show up, not show up, and I think this is their week where they don't show up. I think Kansas City wins at home.
I'm going to go with Oakland here because, first of all, I think Carson Palmer is a better quarterback than Brady Quinn. I don't have much confidence in Brady Quinn's abilities, and I don't have any confidence in Matt Castle's abilities. So I don't think that Kansas City is a team in disarray right now. They do have Jamal Charles on the ground, but Oakland's run defense is stepping it up. They should have beat Atlanta there a couple of weeks ago. I think that Oakland is a much better football team than Kansas City, and yes, it's in Arrowhead, and a hard place to travel to. I just think Oakland has a better football team, and I'm going to pick them in a close one.
Okay, we got the Giants in Dallas this week. Another always a good game. And I think we're both. Yeah, well, that's right. I think the Giants are going to win this one. I think they're going to go into Dallas, into the Jerry Dome, and they're going to pull one out. They're firing on all cylinders. And Romo didn't look so great this week, right? So even though they got the job done,
they're playing better right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So they should win that game.
We got New Orleans going into your Denver Broncos.
Got to go with my Broncos here because New Orleans, their defense is pretty bad actually. I mean, they're up around 30 or 31 against the run and the pass. I mean, they're awful. Denver's secondary is much better, and although Brees will throw for Drew Brees is Drew Brees, going to throw for 300 yards anyway. But I think Peyton Manning's going to go smack for smack with him here, and I think defense is going to make a difference. I think Denver wins this game.
I think he's salivating throwing against that pass defense of the New Orleans Saints. And after what he pulled off in the Monday Nighter last week, I can't see it any other way either. I think Denver wins that game in a shootout. Finally, the Monday Nighter this week, San Francisco travels to Arizona.
Arizona gave up another 7 sacks. Skelton went down 7 times last week. That's 29 sacks given up by the Arizona offensive line in 4 weeks. And they're going up to that offensive line going up against the defensive line, the San Francisco 49ers. I can't see Arizona. Arizona's at home, good team at home, but I do not see them beating San Francisco here. I think San Francisco's going to win by a touchdown, maybe more.
Sacks, punts, fumbles, offensive line. How many were going to St. Ives? 7 more sacks. Anyway, we won't go there. I agree with you 100%. San Francisco go in and wakes that in a dirty. Okay, that's the picks for this week, folks. And I know that we did great again this week. I can just feel it in my bones. But stick around for our final thoughts.
Hey, welcome back. We're back with our Team of the Week and Player of the Week. Who's your Team of the Week, Jeff?
My Team of the Week is going to be the Seattle Seahawks because I truly believe they're going to go in. And we've differed on this pick. I think they're going to go in and present a wonderful defensive game against I guess a wounded Detroit team after the show they put up against the Bears this week. I think that they can go in there and handle them defensively, shut down the offense, keep Calvin Johnson at bay, and win that game with a squeaker. Who do you like this week as a team?
I like the Philadelphia Eagles to put it all together. I think that I might as well throw my player of the week in there as well. I'm going to pick LaShawn McCoy against the 27th ranked Atlanta run defense. Atlanta's 6-0 team. They have a great team. They have a lot of weapons. So does Philadelphia. They got Deshaun Jackson. They got Jeremy Maclin. LaShawn McCoy is one of the best running backs in the game. He's also one of the best receiving running backs in the game, which means that Vic's going to have a big game as well. And I think the Philadelphia defense shows up for this game, sends Atlanta to their first loss in a big way.
Yeah, I put Jackson up there with the likes of Adrian Peterson for receiving versus running back and those kind of all-purpose yardage. So I agree with you 100%. Actually, my player of the week this week is coming from the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's going to be Michael Vick. And he's going to be the quarterback, obviously. That sounded very mad, and I mean the quarterback in orchestrating this entire offense. I don't know, still can't get away from that, but I think he has a big game too. And you're right, against that 27th ranked run defense, Vic coming out of the pocket is just another one of those guns. Okay, that's the way we see it this week, folks. Want to say this is the near the midpoint of the season, and it's also the Halloween week. So, want to say happy Halloween. Enjoy the games this week. I know that the boys here are trying to get ready for Halloween as well, and even our producer Adam jumped in this week, and he's going as a garden gnome. That's a pretty impressive thing at 6'6", getting him into that costume. Didn't think that was going to work out too good, eh?
No, but Adam fit in there pretty well.
Yeah. Well, he told me he wanted to go as Tony Nomo, but I was thinking about us, man. I mean, we've got to have costumes too. So I went out.
I know 2 people are going to be clowns.
Yes, and a party. I went out and got us masks. I didn't know if you wanted to go as Jesus, or you wanted to go as the Antichrist. So it's your call, man. Which one do you like?
I don't know. What if you got one of Bill Belichick there? Because I personally believe that Bill Belichick is the devil. So.
Well, I don't know. This is Hecubus' henchman. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, man.
God, I'm so great, but I don't want to tell anybody about it.
Yeah. Well, I also have false humility, and I also come out on the I come out on the field when it's time to punt the ball, even though I'm a quarterback. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
That's the way we saw it this week, folks. Come back, see us next week. See how we did. Moving up the list very slowly and creeping up on the rest of those experts. And John, you're moving your way well up the list now. You're still well ahead of me.
I'm ahead of Mo.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm slowly moving up in your rearview mirror. Thanks again for watching, folks. We'll see you next week. And until that time, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Have fun.
Oh, man. Another one in the can.
Yes, bud.
Listen, man, that quote that you put up there, that last Madden quote, that was, she said a question. What the hell did it mean?
I have no idea.
Well, hopefully someone will explain it to us.
We could get Madden to call.
Yeah, he's probably not going to know either.
Oh, he had some great quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's finished on that. Boom!
Well, he also said that when the quarterback throws the ball and the receiver catches it in the end zone, that's a touchdown.
Well, man.
Genius. He's a genius.
Maybe we'll ask Stephen Hawking.
You might know.